Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namaste. Haribol. Radhe Radhe. Welcome to the Science of Krishna. Read with me Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the nectar of all the Vedic knowledge. It is the cream of all the Vedic knowledge. Let's purify ourselves by taking a dip in this divine nectar. In the previous episode, we read chapter 6 and we learned what instructions Narad Muni gave to Srila Vyasadeva. Srimad Bhagavatam Granth Mahapurana ki Jai. Chapter 7, the son of Drona punished. Shaunaka Uvach, Rishi Shaunak asked, O Sutta, the great and transcendently powerful Vyasadeva heard everything from Shri Narad Muni. So after Narad's departure, what did Vyasadeva do? Shri Shuta said, on the western bank of the river Saraswati, which is intimately related with the Vedas, there is a cottage for meditation at Shamya Prasha, which enlivens the transcendental activity of the sages. And we know that for spiritual advancement, we need that atmosphere. We need a suitable place. In that place, Srila Vyasadeva, in his own ashram, which was surrounded by berry trees, sat down to meditate after touching water for purification. Thus, he fixed his mind, perfectly engaging it by linking it in devotional service, bhakti yoga, without any tinge of materialism, and thus he saw the absolute personality of Godhead along with his external energy, which was under full control. Due to this external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material miseries. And due to this illusionary energy, the external energy of the great Lord, we think and misunderstand ourselves to be a material product. And Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us and trains us to realize that the ultimate goal, the perfection for a living entity is to revive the natural love and affection for the great Lord. And if one fails to do so, that beats the purpose of being blessed with this human clothing, beautiful human clothing. So, as we read this Srimad Bhagavatam, let's teach ourselves that the real purpose of this human clothing is to revive the love which is long lost for the ultimate supreme personality of Godhead, Shri Hari. The material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature, which is in relation to the Supreme Lord. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness just by Shravanam, just by listening to this divine nectar. We can have the love for Godhead germinate in our heart. How beautiful it is. The great sage Vyasadeva, after compiling the Srimad Bhagavatam and revising it, taught it to his own son, Sri Shukadev Goswami, who was already engaged in self-realization. In fact, I made a video on my Hindi channel that what are we teaching our kids? How Vyasadeva, such a learned sage, taught his son what he knew, this divine nectar that will ignite and sprout the love for Godhead in our heart. And he taught it to his son. We should also stock up good qualities in us so that we can pass it on to our children. But once we look around, there is so much pollution, especially on social media, that it's heartbreaking. So let's take advantage of this divine nectar. Let's purify our own soul, our heart, our mind, and then teach it to our children. And children learn from not just by listening, but by seeing. They'll see what parents are doing and they'll also follow the same steps. So let's leave good footprints for them to follow that would lead them to become a good human being and to perfect this living clothing by igniting, sprouting the love in their hearts for our beloved Shri Krishna. Hari Bol. Shri Shaunaka asked Suta Goswami, Shri Shukadev Goswami was already on the path of self realization and thus he was pleased with his own self. So, why did he take the trouble to undergo the study of such a vast literature? Shruta Goswami said, all different varieties of Atma Ramas, those who take pleasure in the Atma or spirit self, especially those established on the path of self realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls. And this is the power of devotion. And this is the power of the name of Shri Krishna, that he attracts everyone. Krishna means all attractive. He attracts elderly women, giving them parental affection. He attracts young damsels by giving them conjugal love. He attracts even men by giving them servitude and friendship. He attracts them with humility. So he attracts everyone. And this shows the power of God's name and his qualities, that such a liberated soul like Shuta Goswami, he was also attracted and he wanted to know about the qualities of the great Lord. Srila Shuka Goswami, son of Srila Vyasadeva, even he was also attracted and he wanted to learn about the qualities of the Lord by his own father, Srila Vyasadeva. Srila Shukadev Goswami, son of Srila Vyasadeva, was not only transcendentally powerful, he was also very dear to the devotees of the Lord. Thus, he underwent the study of this great narration, Srimad Bhagavatam. Shruta Goswami thus addressed the rishis headed by Shaunaka. Now I shall begin the transcendental narration of the Lord Sri Krishna and topics of the birth, activities, and deliverance of King Parikshit, the sage amongst kings, as well as topics of the renunciation of the worldly order by the sons of Pandu. When the respective warriors of both camps, namely the Kauravas and the Pandavas, were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and the dead warriors obtained their deserved destinations, and when the son of Dhritarashtra fell down lamenting, his spine broken, being beaten by the club of Bhimasen, the son of Dronacharya, Ashwatthama beheaded the 5 sleeping sons of Draupadi and delivered the heads as a prize to his master, foolishly thinking that he would be pleased. Duryodhan, however, disapproved of the heinous act, and he was not pleased in the least. Draupadi, the mother of the 5 children of the Pandavas, after hearing of the massacre of her sons, began to cry in distress with eyes full of tears, trying to pacify her in her great loss. Arjuna spoke to her thus: O gentle lady, When I present you with the head of that Brahmana after beheading him with arrows from my Gandiv bow, I shall then wipe the tears from your eyes and pacify you. Then, after burning your son's bodies, you can take your bath standing on his head. I got goosebumps reading this. This is so devastating. This is exactly the condition of our planet right now. Credit goes to us, foolish human beings, bombarding another nation and doing what not just to terrify our fellow creatures. What is it that is happening? It makes me sad to look around. This happened ages ago, and history repeats itself. We have to take shelter at the lotus feet of the great Lord because we never know what will happen in the next moment. Arjuna, who is guided by the infallible Lord as friend and driver, thus satisfied the dear lady by such statements. Then he dressed in armor and armed himself with furious weapons, and getting into his chariot, he set out to follow Ashwatthama, the son of his martial teacher, Dronacharya. Ashwatthama, the murderer of the princes, seeing from a great distance Arjuna coming at him with great speed, fled in his chariot, panic stricken, just to save his life, as Brahma fled in fear from Shiva. When the son of the Brahmana Ashwatthama saw that his horses were tired, he considered that there was no alternative for protection outside of his using the ultimate weapon, the Brahmastra, the nuclear weapon. Since his life was in danger, he touched water in sanctity and concentrated upon the chanting of the hymns for throwing nuclear weapons, although he did not know how to withdraw such weapons. Exactly what different nations are doing right now, throwing nuclear weapons to each other's land, thinking that they are the master of their respective lands. Are they really? We are not even the master of this human clothing that has been given to us by the great Lord. If yes, have you seen any human being taking their clothing after death with them? This human clothing? And do we possess the power to revert back our actions? For example, when we throw a nuclear weapon, when countries like such big countries are throwing nuclear weapons, do they possess the power to take it back? To undo the effects of nuclear weapons? If not, who is giving them the right to do so? Thereupon, a glaring light spread in all directions. It was so fierce that Arjuna thought his own life in danger, and so he began to address Lord Shri Krishna. Arjuna said, "O my Lord Shri Krishna, you are the Almighty Personality of Godhead. There is no limit to your different energies. Therefore, only you are competent to instill fearlessness in the hearts of your devotees. Everyone in the flames of material miseries can find the path of liberation in you only. You are the original personality of Godhead who expands himself all over the creations and is transcendental to material energy. You have cast away the effects of the material energy by dint of your spiritual potency. You are always situated in eternal bliss and transcendental knowledge. And yet, though you are beyond the purview of the material energy, you execute the four principles of liberation characterized by religion and so on for the ultimate good of the conditioned souls. Thus, you descend as an incarnation to remove the burden of the world and to benefit your friends, especially those who are your exclusive devotees and are constantly wrapped in meditation upon you. O Lord of Lords, how is it that this dangerous effulgence is spreading all around? Where does it come from? I do not understand it. Sri Bhagavanu Vach, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Know me, know from me that this is the act of the son of Drona. He has thrown the hymns of nuclear energy, Brahmastra, and he does not know how to retract the glare. He has helplessly done this, being afraid of imminent death. O Arjuna, only another Brahmastra can counteract this weapon. Since you are expert in the military science, subdue this weapon's glare with the power of your own weapon. Sri Shuta Goswami said, hearing this from the personality of Godhead, Arjuna touched water for purification, and after circumambulating Lord Shri Krishna, he cast his Brahmastra weapon to counteract the other one. Now, this is the power of the great devotees of the great Lord. See, he was having a one on one with Shri Krishna. Even when he couldn't see Shri Krishna, just like how we are not able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what do? We lose faith in him. And what did the great devotee Arjuna do? He remembered him, he talked, he seeked his advice, setting an example that likewise we should also, in the time of despair, in our happiness, whatever the season may be, in our life, we should always and always have our connection strong and alive with the great Lord Shri Hari. We should always serve him with utter humility and gratitude, and we should always give him our pure devotion, unalloyed devotion. Let's learn from such great devotees. When we read a scripture, let's take notes in our heart and mind that things how not to be, taking examples like Ashwatthama, and do not judge. I have learned it from my gurus that there is nobody who is bad when you are reading scriptures. Do not label them as bad people or bad souls. No, they are doing the role and they are teaching us how not to be. So they are also respectful souls. We should offer them respect and thank them for teaching us how not to be, as they are all parts and parcels of the great Lord and they are all his puppets, just like us. When the rays of the two Brahmastras combined, a great circle of fire, like the disk of the sun, covered all outer space and the whole firmament of planets. All the population of the three worlds was scorched by the combined heat of the weapons. Everyone was reminded of the Shamvartaka fire which take place at the time of annihilation. Thus, seeing the disturbance of the great populace and the imminent destruction of the planets, Arjuna at once retracted both Brahmastra weapons as Lord Sri Krishna desired. Arjuna, his eyes blazing in anger with two red balls of copper, dexterously arrested the son of Gautami and bound him with ropes like an animal. After binding Ashwatthama, Arjuna wanted to take him to the military camp. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, looking on with his lotus eyes, spoke to Arjuna in an angry mood. Lord Sri Krishna said, O Arjuna, you should not show mercy by releasing this relative of a Brahmana, Brahmabandhu, for he has killed innocent boys in their sleep. A person who knows the principles of religion does not kill an enemy who is careless, intoxicated, insane, asleep, afraid, or devoid of his chariot. Nor does he kill a boy, a woman, a foolish creature, or a surrendered soul. A cruel and wretched person who maintains his existence at the cost of others' lives deserves to be killed for his own well being, otherwise, he will go down by his own actions. Furthermore, I have personally heard you promise Draupadi that you would bring forth the head of the killer of her sons. This man is an assassin and murderer of your own family members. Not only that, but he has also dissatisfied his master. He is but the burnt remnants of his family. Kill him immediately. Shruta Goswami said, although Krishna, who was examining Arjuna in religion, encouraged Arjuna to kill the son of Dronacharya. Arjuna, a great soul, did not like the idea of killing him, although Ashwatthama was a heinous murderer of Arjuna's family members. Then we may ask that why did Shri Krishna directed Arjuna to kill Ashwatthama? Because sometimes God likes to test his devotees. You know how we play games with our children? Just like that. God play games with us, just like he played with gopis, he played with other devotees. Just like that. He was directing Arjuna to kill Ashwatthama. But he knew that Arjuna will not do that because he is the man who follows the path of righteousness. So, just to test him, we can say he did that, and just to magnify his sense of duty. Sri Shuta Goswami said Draupadi then saw Ashwatthama, who was bound with ropes like an animal and silent for having enacted the most inglorious murder. Due to her female nature and due to her being naturally good and well behaved, she showed him due respects as Brahmana. She could not tolerate Ashwatthama's being bound by ropes and being a devoted lady, she said, release him, for he is a Brahmana, our spiritual master. It was by Dronacharya's mercy that you learned the military art of throwing arrows and the confidential art of controlling arrows. Dhanurveda or military science was taught by Dronacharya, Ashwatthama's father, to Arjuna. So, this shows that a good person, a good soul is good irrespective of the circumstances. Draupadi could have directed Arjun that, okay, I want his head chopped off. But no, she said, please release him, because I am still looking at him with so much respect. He is the son of our Guru who has given, who has made you who you are, given you the Dhanur Vidya, the military science. So this shows that a good person is a good person irrespective of his or her circumstances. He, Dronacharya, is certainly still existing, being represented by his son. His wife Kripa did not undergo a sati with him because she had a son. O most fortunate one who know the principles of religion, it is not good for you to cause grief to glorious family members who are always respectable and worshipful. My lord, do not make the wife of Dronacharya cry like me. I am aggrieved for the death of my sons. She need not cry constantly like me. If the kingly administrative order, being unrestricted in sense control, offends the Brahmana order and enrages them, then the fire of that rage burns up the whole body of the royal family and brings grief upon them all. And this teaches another thing, that what we see humans doing, that whatever harm has been done to me, I'll repeat it with the other person or whomsoever I come in contact with. But how it should be, it's supposed to be that whatever happened, happened. I'll make sure I am not doing this to other human beings or anybody I'm coming in contact with. That should be the approach. Shruta Goswami said, O Brahmanas, King Yudhishthir fully supported the statements of the queen, which were in accordance with the principles of religion and were justified, glorious, full of mercy and equity, and without duplicity. Nakul and Sahadev, the younger brothers of the king, and also Satyaki, Arjun, and the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, son of Devaki, and the ladies and other all unanimously agreed with the king. Bhima, however, angrily disagreed with them and recommended killing this culprit who had murdered sleeping children for no purpose and for neither his or nor his master's interest. Chaturbhuja, the four-armed one, or the personality of Godhead, after hearing the words of Bhima, Draupadi, and others, saw the face of his dear friend Arjuna and began to speak as if smiling. Sri Bhagavan Uvach, the Supreme Personality of Sri Krishna, said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, said, I just love this name, Shri Krishna, Hare Krishna. A friend of a Brahmana is not to be killed, but if he is an aggressor, he must be killed. All these rulings are in the scriptures, and you should act accordingly. You have to fulfill your promise to your wife, and you must also act to the satisfaction of Bhimasena and me. Shruta Goswami said, just then Arjuna could understand the motive of the Lord by his equivocal orders, and thus with his sword he severed both hair and jewel from the head of Ashwatthama. He, Ashwatthama, had already lost his bodily luster due to infanticide, and now, moreover, having lost the jewel from his head, he lost even more strength. Thus, he was unbound and driven out of the camp. Cutting the hair from his head, depriving him of his wealth, and driving him from his residence are the prescribed punishments for the relative of a Brahmana. There is no injunction for killing the body. Thereafter, the sons of Pandu and Draupadi, overwhelmed with grief, performed the proper rituals for the dead bodies of their relatives. May what they went through, we never went through. May God bless our children, our relatives, our friends, our family. Vasudev Kutumbakam. May there be peace in the entire world. We are all one big family. May God bless us all. This ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the first canto, 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Son of Drona Punished. Next chapter, chapter 8, my favorite. Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit saved. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Srimad Bhagavatam Granth Mahapuran ki Jai. I'll see you next Wednesday on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you so much for tuning in and for diving with me in this holy nectar, which is the cream of our Vedic scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to the great devotees of the great Lord. May Shri Krishna bless us all. Please remember me in your blessings, your prayers, and keep showering me with your love. Let's keep ourselves surrendered at the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. Let's shower our little Krishna with pure love. Oh, sweet love. Haribol Namaste, Radhe Radhe.